and start looking at what we'll be seeing for the next match, which once again is going to be the Keks versus Untitled Spreadsheet, our title card match of the night. And that match shouldn't be too far away. We did say that was going to be more or less straight after the No Kids match, but I'm going to just quickly run it over with Gaima. These are two obviously very big teams. Very experienced, a lot of great players, a lot of stars on both of these sides. Any first-hand thoughts about what we're going to see from your perspective?
Yeah, well, based on the game we just saw, I think it will depend which team adapts to the patch better. Like, both those teams are very experienced teams, but they're both very adaptable teams. I think Keks in particular will be able to adapt some interesting ways to throw Untitled Spreadsheet off, because that's the goal of any team facing the top team in a region. You really want to be trying to throw them off their game, and I think that's what Keks will be trying to do going into this match.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting game. I do believe the Untitled Spreadsheet is still favoured here. I mean, let's not forget they're the current #1 team in the region. They've done exceptionally well in the past matches they played, in the past tournaments they played, and I think if anything, Keks are going to have to do a lot of work to get this match. But honestly, with the new patch, I think anything could still be up in the air, Gaima. Like, I mean, you mentioned the team's still got to make a bit of adaptations. Who do you think is going to be the real big winner out of this patch between the two teams? Because I do know Yuki plays a pretty good McCree, so what do you reckon about these guys?
Yuki does play a pretty good McCree, but I think Yuki's real strength is his Pharah. And the buffs to McCree, I think, really hurt the ability to play Pharah. And I think that will hurt Yuki's domination of the DPS role in the region, because I would have considered him the best player on the previous meta. But with Pharah dropping, I don't really know if it'll be the same now.
Okay, just before we go into the next game, I'm going to get a final prediction from you. Numbani and Watchpoint Gibraltar, who's going to win which map?
I think both will go to Untitled Spreadsheet.
Both are going to go to Untitled Spreadsheet. Actually, before we move on, I'm just going to quickly, while we're waiting for something in the background, and these players are still jumping into the lobby, I'm just going to wait for a confirmation from the admins before we move forward with anything else. But let's just take a quick look at what the stakes are here tonight, Gaima. So we have both these teams at a 3-0. They're both undefeated so far in this league, which means tonight someone's going to have to lose. Someone has to take that crucial, that sad 3-1 drop, and someone else is going to get to the 4-0. And I do believe, you know, we're at the sort of stage now where we've spoken about this a few previous time, but if you get 4 wins, you're in a pretty safe spot to get into playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think whoever wins this match pretty much is guaranteed playoffs. But I think at the same time, whoever loses is probably still going to make playoffs. They're both amazing teams, so I think it'll be really about having that confirmation, because not many teams on 4-2 won't be making it.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, Gaima. We are going to throw it to our main play-by-play caster, Pixie, who's had a few issues tonight, but he's finally here with us. Gaima believes the game will go 2-0 to Untitled Spreadsheet. We'll find out if that's actually going to be happening. So, welcome, Pixie. You finally joined us. How you been doing?
Oh, I have finally joined you, and thank you very much for the warm welcome. I'm not too bad tonight. How about yourself?
Oh, we've just had, you know, quite the impressive show last match. I mean, what really got me going was seeing all the new features of the patch being played out in the match, and that's what I was really excited to see, and really interested and curious about seeing as well. I wanted to know what the teams are going to do with this new patch. What are they going to use? What are they not going to use? And, you know, basically what are the effects of this? And I think some of that did get shown in the last game, but
yeah.
we're now in this game, and
yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see what you're going to say about this.
Well, geez, the thing that I can't help but think, you know, Untitled Spreadsheet, they're just looking so dominant right now. Like, even when they've played what was previously considered the dominant team, Chiefs Esports Club, more recently, Untitled Spreadsheet have unequivocally come out ahead. But you know, this is a new patch. It's a new leaf being turned over, and no doubt both of these teams will have really scrubbed up and put in the time to learn this new patch, possibly even try out some new comps, some things like what we saw get pulled out in the last game. But if Woodkicks have adapted better and maybe adapted faster, then this is the time that they can start pushing to be that top team. I mean, they're already in the top few, and heck, if it's not Woodkicks, then perhaps other teams can start to break into this top tier of teams and even topple Untitled Spreadsheet. So I'm interested to see how that turns out tonight.
Speaking of adaptations, I want to quickly point out that the Woodkicks have a new tank in their lineup. Cinderella, otherwise known as Cinderella Man from TF2, has now joined the ranks as the main tank for Team Woodkicks, so replacing Presh in that spot. The thing I want to say about Cinderella is he was the main tank for Camp Group Prime, who I don't know if you remember watching, but he was a pretty dominant force in that game, and I'd be very interested to see how he does with the Woodkicks. How much time have they had to really gel together with their new player, and how much time Cinderella's had and how comfortable he is in playing with this new team. But both these teams ready to go now. Pixie, are you ready to throw us in?
I'm ready, Freddy, even though that's not your name. So let's just get right on into Numbani. I mean, I've said what I want to say. I'm just excited to see these two exceptionally good teams play on this new patch. I mean, not even considering the fact that this is like our title bout of the night. This is going to be a good one no matter how you slice it. So, straight up, what do we think we might see? I mean, it's hard to predict, but what do we think we might see on this defense?
On the defense, well, I think Zenyatta, I've said this already, and I don't want to sound like too much of a broken record, but Zenyatta is still, for me, the biggest winner of the patch, and I do honestly think there's got to be Zenyatta on defense. Ana's had a couple of showings. I think Ana's got some really interesting niche picks in there, but not quite ready for a defense. I don't think Ana really brings enough from her toolkit to really be effective in the defense. You will see a bit of Ana on the offense here, though. And already we're seeing the players make their picks now. I don't know if all the picks are completely locked in, but Ana and Genji and D.Va being picked up on the side of Woodkicks.
Yeah, so I mean, the defense is absolutely locked in. They're all out of the base now. We've got Raz on McCree, Mosh running up Reinhardt, GNB taking Roadhog. Refs, you called it. He's gone for the Zenyatta. RQT taking the old staple Mercy, and Yuki on that Hanzo. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. Interesting, of course, to see that Zenyatta, even on Numbani, which I would say is often quite a Lucio favorite map, Zen is considered the go-to now. And I'm not surprised given how that went in the patches. But do you want to run us through what the attackers have got?
Well, they're going to go for Mercy, Ana, D.Va, Widow, Winston, and Genji. And this is going to be that fast push we've seen from other teams like Benchim. Going for both the D.Va and the Winston, and actually the Genji, means I think they're going to try and smash that right side. Watch them walk up the main road and smash that right side battlements is my prediction for this. Yeah,
also notice the change off the Ana at the last moment. Elam has gone over to that Lucio, so they're obviously really valuing that speed boost. And look at this. Haste just trying to get right in there. Oh, nice hook, though. It's going to be the defense matrix pops just for now, so not really pointed towards maybe the high DPS, but they're just getting right on top of the point, and actually this is going to be it's going to be Untitled Spreadsheet having to drop down and get into the nitty-gritty, but they have zoned off the Mercy very effectively. Their GNB doing a good job, so this attack can't last much longer as the healers all get picked off, and that is going to be Woodkicks backing on up.
Well, let's see what happened to Woodkicks there. They ran their D.Va and their Winston onto the top right battlements. That was their game plan. Genji actually tried to follow up suit as well, but the problem is as soon as they went up there, you see Untitled Spreadsheet backing away inside the doorway immediately, and they have Mosh's shield up to block all the damage. They were completely prepared for that push. They knew what the push was, and I think a lot of that actually comes down to the fact that they're running a Hanzo, and you do have that sonic arrow that can sense that you can see where the players are going to be pushing from. You can prepare yourself, and that makes a lot of sense now why they're playing Hanzo.
Oh, I like this push, all coming around the side now into the hotel. Nice hook onto GNB, goes down at the top of the fight, but that Hanzo ultimate is so big from Yuki. Catches Cinderella and Elam out. That haste going to fall over now to Mosh getting into the nitty-gritty of things, and that's going to be a really convincing hold. Oh, here comes the Res though. Fail going to throw that one out. Can they push it through? Charge onto Mosh. That's the tank down, and Dunzo. Raz getting picked off on the side as well. That's a really nice Iris, followed by the Res. Now it's all ults down. It's just going to be a straight-up roll. Raz already already falling over. Cinderella doing work on that one. Refs, RQT as well are down. Much soon to follow. Yuki is low and forced to back away, and it's only G&B who is zoned miles out. This is going to be a point cap for Keks.
Wow, looks so good for Keks, and I have to really say, Fail, what an amazing res. That was like a 4-man or 5-man res, but did not fail there. He came through with a really massive play, and the follow-up from the rest of the Keks as well. Cinderella doing a lot of work, as you said. He got a double kill on that point to really help secure, and to be honest, the Transcendence play from Refs was just a little bit too late. I just think there just wasn't enough there. He was healing with the Transcendence and point on who? There was just really no one there. You need to actually use it to keep your players alive. I think he might have used it as a desperation to keep himself alive, and then the res from RQT just didn't get the players back in time, and you see the Keks taking that point after one failed push, get it pretty securely on the second.
Yeah, and that was a really convincing fight. You're dead right as well about Refs and RQT. Maybe not quite coordinated there. I like the adaptations, though, here out of the attacking side. Ozir, yeah, Ozir going to pick it up. Oh, the speed, the high noon, it doesn't quite catch enough, but it's still a big push. The res going to be forced out by RQT, and that's a really, really solid cooldown gone as Fail, Haste, and TJK have fallen. So this looks like it's going to be a hold for the defenders. Cinderella trying to go in and do some work, but he is going to fall over. And
they do get the point, though.
That is a point cap. That is a point cap. You're dead right, but still a solid defensive fight. Not too much ground left to make for the Keks, though. I think they might be able to do this in good time.
Keks still want a bit of this action. Rico and Elam still go, and there's just two of them. Are they trying to die here? No, they finally do kill Mosh, but Yuki will respond finally onto Osa, otherwise known as Rico. That's what I'm talking when I say Rico, and Yuki's finally changed up the Hanzo. I did feel like he wasn't being as effective on the second point.
Not so much. Oh, the big speed in. They just want to get brawling on the point without the payload even with them. That's a really nice whole hog, though, to completely break up the team. Yuki, the first to fall. Cinderella now down. That is the tank for the attacking side out of the fight. That's huge. And Fail is a long way away as well, so not going to come up in any kind of res. Obviously, going to throw out the aimbot, though. Isn't quite able to find anyone. Oh, he goes in for Raz. Manages to find him on the back line. And I believe that was just as the Hino was about to be challenged Yuki to fall over. Actually, that's a team wipe. They're going to do it. My God, what a time.
402, Pixie. Jesus, mother of God, that is fantastic for the Keks. What a start. The little bit of a blunder on the first point, failed the first push, got it on the second push, immediately came back, failed. This will be the 4-man raise I was talking about on that very first point. Let's take a look at this, and my God, what a push coming through. And I don't know if you saw, but Osa completely dodged Mosh's hammer down, ran forward with the sprint, and killed a couple of more guys with his aimbot. Wow.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge play from Ozir right at the end. And you could tell by the positioning as well, Raz was just about to drop a high noon, which would have been devastating. Cinderella did not have the shield up and was completely destroyed by Ozir's aimbot. That was really, really great play by Ozir. Like, I don't want to talk it up too much, but hands down, that secured the game. I said I'd be interested to see if Untitled Spreadsheets might start crumbling here, you know, if the Giants would finally fall. 401 to attack on Numbani. That's not just a giant falling. That's a giant disintegrating into dust. I feel like Untitled Spreadsheets are the one with the uphill battle now.
Well, you know, speaking of dust, you know, can Untitled Spreadsheet come out from the dust and rise as a phoenix and take this back? Don't forget, this is still Untitled Phoenix. Sorry, Untitled maybe they're going to be titled after this. Maybe I've just given them a new name. But 402, while it is a dominant time, it's not show's over, because I've seen faster times. We saw a faster time tonight, albeit that was a different game, but Untitled Spreadsheet, if any team could make a faster time than 402, this is probably going to be the team, Pixie.
Yeah, you do make a very good point there. I think it's going to be a challenge no matter how you slice it, but you're dead right. I mean, if anyone can do Untitled Spreadsheet, yeah, Untitled Spreadsheet.
They lose that 1 second.
Yeah, the one. But the big thing is, you mentioned in the last game, Keks actually had a bit of a failed fight the first push onto the point. If Untitled Spreadsheet could not have that first failure and just get the point straight off the bat, first fight, and then follow up in the same way that Keks did, then they can beat that time. But there's really no room for error.
Well, the biggest thing for me was I felt like while Hanzo was really good on the first point, I do see why you run it. Use a Sonic Arrow to scout the enemy push out so you can see where they're going to fight from. But Yuki kept the Hanzo for point 2, and that for me was when the Untitled Spreadsheet defense really crumbled. It just wasn't enough. You saw the dragon came out, and it just didn't really that didn't do enough either. I just don't think Hanzo was really good enough for that point. I'm really glad he switched onto the Widow for the third point, but maybe a little bit too late. Here comes the first push for Untitled Spreadsheet.
Yeah, and all just piling around the side. They're actually going to walk right into the defensive setups. This is going to be one hell of a brawl. Shields up and already just DPS down. So what a flashbang to drop the shield. Getting some good damage in onto Marsh, and TJK staying alive. Yuki on the backside trying to do some work. Does get a couple, actually. Elam and Hayes now fall and fail as well. The healers out of bound for the count. TJK, they're going to do it. Cinderella going to follow now as well. And OC the last to fall on the point. And wow, in one fight, Untitled Spreadsheet have done it. We said no room for error. Wow.
Well, you know, when it really counts, you know, Untitled Spreadsheet are definitely bringing the game back to the Keks. Keks took 2 pushes to make that point. Untitled Spreadsheet did it in 1, and in a much more convincing fashion, I would say as well. Whereas we saw Keks, they did take in the second push, but they had to fight for it. They didn't just get given that point. That looked a lot more convincing for Untitled Spreadsheet than it did for the Keks the first time around.
Yeah, you're dead right there.
Oh, fail again.
I said, I think there's a lot of room. Wow, yeah, completely, guy. I think there's a lot of room here to mount a solid defense, but actually with Fail dead, I'm not so sure how I feel about that anymore. It's quite tricky to defend between this first and second point here, and without Fail up, I don't know if Keks can really find the position. But stranger things have happened.
I'll tell you what, the important thing about killing Fail here and the Mercy in general is that with the Mercy nerf and you're losing health, I'm not going to stop talking because the fight's already started. Keks want to bring the fight over.
Fail is miles away as Haste falls right at the top. Sorry, Cinderella's shield had just gone down as well. Well, Fail gets the fight and dies instantly. Yuki on the backline is doing a ton of work, looking to fight TJK, finds him, Cinderella and Elam. That is a massive set of kills for Yuki, and this is going to be Untitled Spreadsheet just barreling down to that next point. They've got tons of time, and this is trying to beat a 4-minute push. This is insane.
They have 2 minutes, and Keks have to now hold for 2 minutes, and you'll see that Fail still doesn't have a res. I was going to touch up on the fact that with the Mercy nerf, you get the res a lot less quickly now. It's a lot slower, and the fact that RQT managed to get a res because RQT didn't die, that was crucial for Untitled Spreadsheet because they could lose a fight and come back in. Keks don't have that safety net. They still don't have a res.
They've barely got any ultimates, but GNV getting picked at the beginning of this fight is very big for the Mosh IQT. They're all just falling over. What a defense!
For, I believe, minimal ults as well. I believe only Osa and Elam used ults there, and everyone else kept theirs, so they still got a lot of items in the bag. Their goodie bag is full right now. TJK, Fail, Hey, Cinderella, they have their ults up. 1 minute, 16 left on the clock. If they can defend successfully one more time, they might actually be able to do this.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, though, is going to be on Yuki for the attacking, and he's going in on the back line with the Dragon Blade. He's already looking for the Mercy, but gets flashbanged. Can't quite find the Mercy. Now he's in trouble. Yuki, he does find TJK, but he's got 23 health. He's looking for the Mercy, but the Mercy just comes straight out with the res. Fail also still getting away with it. Yuki just did not pull enough weight there. Osir and Cinderella have gone down to the front of the fight, though, so there is still a lot of room for the push through. Actually, the backline distracted enough by Yuki, but the reses are up. Osir on the trace is just going to try and harass and do what he can. High Noon, not going to do anything. TJK struggling to get out back into the fight as Yuki keeps him completely kettled. Cinderella as well. And actually the push is continuing. This is the defending team just completely kettled in the base. They're unable to get out. GNV picks another one. And this, I think, is going to be it. There's who's still defending TJK and Fail. And I mean, what's the Mercy going to really do? The point is taken, and I can't believe they beat it.
Well, I can believe it because I kind of said this might have happened, you know. Never count these guys out, and here comes the Phoenix raining fire down onto the Keks. Yuki doing so much work with the Genji. What a great pick!
And it wasn't even that he was getting a massive set of kills like he did between the middle 2 points, right? At the end there, he only got TJK, but he kept Fail stuck in the base. When Fail finally came out and threw down the res, he only picked up TJK, and then Yuki just kept the Mercy away from the fight as the entire front line died. It goes to show, I guess, that you don't even need to get the big kills and the flashy plays to have a huge impact on the game, because that was one guy keeping 2 very crucial team members completely out of the fight while the rest of the team just basically went ahead and won a 5v4. What a shock Untitled Spreadsheet took it.
Well, it is a bit of a shock also because it did look like the Wood Keks had the ability to defend still. I mean, we mentioned they had 4 of the ultimates up. They only used the Sound Barrier and the Death Blossom. They had everything else available. They even had a Resurrection, but I don't think Fail got enough people up in his res. You saw RQT get... I think definitely way more people up. It was really messy on the point. I couldn't really catch who got killed there in what order, but RQT got way more players up from the Untitled Spreadsheet side than Fail did, and they just didn't really use their ults as coordinated and just didn't get as much mileage out of their ults as Untitled Spreadsheets did, and Untitled Spreadsheets had less ults there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see as well that both of these teams are still favoring that Mercy res. They still feel it's hugely impactful, and to be honest with you, I don't disagree with them. You know, the ability to potentially bring back your entire team, it's like being able to fight twice in the time space of one fight, just about. And that's so huge. That's so game-changing. It's not a surprise to see both teams still running that. I'm interested to see in Watchpoint Gibraltar with the slightly different angles of attack and different flanks, if we do see an Ana or a Zenyatta instead of perhaps that secondary healer, the Lucio. But in any case, that remains to be seen. And we are just going to give teams a couple of minutes before we get into the next match, Watchpoint Gibraltar.
While we're waiting for the teams to sort their stuff out, I'm going to quickly mention, I touched on the Mercy stuff already, but I'm going to go back to the Mercy because there's something else important that we need to discuss in terms of the Mercy. From the fact that Mercy's been nerfed and it takes a lot longer to get this res up, what we saw Untitled Spreadsheet do there to Fail, and this I think was one of the key aspects of why they won. Let me break this down for you. They killed Fail twice pretty quickly at the start of fights, and it didn't matter that he didn't have res. What they actually did that was far more important was they stopped his ability to gain ult charge. Because ult takes so long to charge up previously, if you kill the Mercy, Mercy comes back, heals a couple of people, boom, there's your res available. How long did it take Fail to finally get a res? They were already defending the 3rd point before Fail got his first res available. That says a lot. That says a lot about how key Mercy is as a target now in this patch, and that if you can actually actively shut down a Mercy, you can prevent them from even being able to charge up a res, Pixie.
Yeah, and when you've got such effective what's the word? The flankers. You've got players like Yuki on that Genji in the last game. It's just the exact example of that. When you can pick that Mercy, I mean, before it was like, okay, you killed Mercy when she had a res available. Cool, you've got a window to fight, and that window is however long it takes Mercy to get back in, but that's not the case anymore. You're dead right, and I'm excited to see both of these teams taking a bit more advantage of that now and possibly even change off the Mercy, because Yuki and OC are fantastic flankers, and I want to see them in action as we get right on into this next map. We're going to be on Watchpoint Gibraltar, of course, our second map of the night. I doubt they're going to be doing it in 4 minutes, just because it is a little bit longer of a map, but both teams had commanding... I mean, I can't really say wins because, of course, one team ultimately won the map as a whole, but both teams had very commanding showings out on that attack, and I want to see if that translates to the full payload map.
I think what it does translate over to me, anyway, from what I can tell from my observation, is that both teams are still trying to figure out the defense. Once again, we're entering new patch. There's a lot of new things to consider, and as far as offense goes, let's be honest, offense has an advantage in this game. When you're attacking, your win condition is a lot easier than the defender's win condition. Really, you only need to win about 3 fights and you've won the game. You win a fight to take the first point, second point, then the 3rd point, and you cap that you win the game. Defenders don't have that luxury. They have to defend for a set amount of time. And it doesn't really matter how many fights you win as a defender, because the time decides when you actually win the map. So defense as a default is a much more difficult position to be than an offense. So the point I'm trying to make here is that with the new patch and with the team still figuring this stuff out, I think defense is actually quite difficult here. So it's actually not super surprising that we're seeing these really fast times, specifically because the teams are good. The better the teams are, the better they are going to be on the offense side, because the players are better. They got better aim, better coordination. They can play their ults better. You're going to see way more kills from the attackers, and so not a surprise at all from me that the attackers are doing really well. It's now going to come down to Watchpoint Gibraltar, where I believe once again the attackers are going to make pretty decent attack times.
Yeah, and speaking of defense, just for the teams to get out of the gate, we have RQT back on that Mercy, Raz on McCree, GNB to take Roadhog, refs with Lucio is the guy's name. Marsh on the Reinhardt, Yuki on Reaper. So still fairly stock standard. And I thought we were going to see a bit of a change for Elam. Was hovering over the Ana for a while, but it is going to go back to the Lucio. TJK on McCree. Failed taking up the Mercy. OC on that Soldier 76. Cinderella going for the line breaker on Winston, and Haste taking Roadhog. And the server room defense so far for Untitled Spreadsheet has not quite come to loggerhead just yet.
It's not much of a defense when they're pushing out so offensively. This looks like more of an offense in the server room, would you say?
They just fully shoved Woodkeks back. I mean, picking fail at the start of that was a key part, but they forced Woodkeks to back away completely. It's like Woodkeks weren't even expecting Untitled Spreadsheet to come from there. So now that they know what they're facing up against, I want to see A, whether they adapt their picks, and B, how they're going to try and attack this payload through the next point, because it looks like we are seeing a successful defense being mounted here.
Well, it did waste a lot of time for Woodkeks, and here we go. Untitled Spreadsheet look like they want to make another play. GMB already moving into position, but Woodkeks going to come through the side of the connector.
This is a really nice one. Oh, the hook just barely goes wide. Haste looking for RQT. And this is just a real hell of a brawl. Mosh goes down, and that's the team split up here. Haste, though, does get bumped out of the fight. Mosh, Raz, RQT about to fall over as well. G&B soon to follow, and this is a really successful attack here. Just completely pincered Untitled Spreadsheets. This is definitely going to be a push through to the second point, I would say.
Cinderella doing so much work. He picks up another kill as well. And whose aimbot just went off? I believe that was
Osia, yeah. Not sure what he was looking for. I think he was maybe just trying to catch a couple of people coming out of the spawn, but unfortunately the first thing he ran into... Wow, the first thing he ran into was Mosh's shield, but Mosh is down. Raz dies during the high noon. The defensive bump from Elam is going to be huge. That sound area. Fail goes down, though, without throwing out the res, just as OC falls, and that was a really huge res for the defending squad there. RQT doing a lot of work with that one. Mosh the only one to fall so far for the defenders, as the almost entire attacking team gets wiped, just short of the point as well, so they've got a long walk back from the spawn.
Not only that, but I'm going to consider the really important thing to look at here is that Untitled Spreadsheet still have 4 of their ultis up. They use the Death Blossom and they use the res, but they still got the other 4 ultis up. Mosh died really early there, so he didn't really get to have much fun. He did get the res, but I do believe he died again. But Woodkeks, wow, what a heartbreaker.
Oh, this is a really nice fight. We're nearly able to get Yuki as he went for that reposition, but unfortunately didn't quite have the damage in time. Now they're just going to try and poke up at the top of these ramparts here. Ready to go in the back line. That's the high noon coming out already from the defending side. TJK, sorry, the attacking side doesn't... Oh, who finds GNB? That's a nice pick for himself. IQT, very low still as the rest, though. And there it goes, just in time, just as Mosh fell over. The rest of the attacking side as well. Norris is on the board as the Death Blossom comes out, and Yuki dies during the attacking team. They're making so much pressure. Raz finds OC during the aimbot, and this could be just barely a mounted defense. So clutch there by Raz, and they do find it, forcing Elam and Fail the long way back, and still they hold that second point.
So here's the key difference that I saw there. RQT got his res off first and Fail got his off second. What that means is if you get res first, you have a few crucial seconds to get yourself into positioning, and my did Untitled Spreadsheet use that time to get themselves back into position, get the kills on the res players from Woodkeks, and here we go. Woodkeks going to make another attempt at the card and manage to be pushed back.
Yeah, they're going for the server this time. They're opting to not take that Winston, so they can't just get into the fight quickly. They kind of have to take the long way. And no ultimates available at all from the attacking team. TJK the closest, 92%, but a res available for the defenders. Raz has gone down at the top of the fight. RQT so low, just barely gets out with his life. And the brawl is on. GNB falling over right at the top of it. That Reinhardt shield is doing a ton of work for Elam, and TJK have fallen over. It's going to be a pick again for the attackers to find Marsh. Cinderella, though, super low, is getting healed up now as the race comes out for the defenders, but the whole hog is here. Haste trying to do what he can. It's really just getting absorbed by the Reinhardt shield as a high noon is absorbed by the attacking team's Reinhardt shield. And Yuki, the only one to die there. OC actually in a little bit of trouble on the side, but he is able to stay safe, ducking into cover in those ramparts. My god, this is such a protracted fight, and still no advantage being gained by either team. There's the defensive sound barrier from the defending squad. TJK looking for the high noon, does not quite find anything. It was really low there, has to back away to save. The RQT goes down. This could be a window, but no, Cinderella's fallen over. Yuki goes for a Death Blossom. OC, Cinderella, Elam all fall down, and that is going to be another successful
Fail has a res though, where is he?
He's not anywhere near, he's not there, he goes for it now, he's finally found it. OC though was not in that race, has swapped off to Reaper, and again the long walk back to the fight. And I said that this is a long protracted fight, but this still favors the defenders, even now as the tide slowly turns, because this payload is still miles away.
Look at TJK!
He's trying to do what he can. He's pretty much the only one doing the work here, the only one turning this fight around, but even then it's hard. He finds Yuki. What a headshot there. IQT as well. This could just barely be the getting onto the payload. No, Marshall's back, ready to do some work. A huge hammer down from him, and he catches a bunch of members, able to force again the attacking team off the payload. And they've taken so long just to get the second point. This is a messy, messy fight, but it's still favoring the defenders, just barely.
Wow, how are Untitled Spreadsheet still in this? Goomba gets the kill onto Fail. Wow, he's doing a lot of work on their front line. Untitled Spreadsheet just managing to claw their way back in. Every time it looks like Keks have some sort of advantage, every time it looks like they might take a fight, Untitled Spreadsheet sort of show up out of nowhere, and it looks to me like Yuki and GMB are the ones that, to me anyway, that are really pulling a lot of weight on this team right now, getting the key picks when they need to. Every time a bunch of the Spreadsheet guys fall over, these guys get the kills in return, and that's really turning the tide of these battles.
Yeah, TJK is trying so hard to pretty much carry this team on its back, but it's just not working out.
Here comes Spreadsheet.
Throw down the whole hog now, just to try and split up the
Look at the car positioning.
But he doesn't find anyone. This could be actually an opportunity to break through. Hayes has already thrown out his whole hog. Cinderella with a nice hammer down. Only catches the one though, but there goes Mosh and Yuki. The defensive race to be blown as GMB is not calling it. Neither is Raz. Ref's down. Yuki back down. It's only Mosh and IQT, and Mosh falls over. IQT as well. They're going to get it, and they just barely keep themselves in this game. It is a long push to the end, but I bet you they can do it.
Well, these teams keep trying to make me sound wrong. I said defense was going to be hard, but Spreadsheet are making defense look easy. I think they're a lot more prepared for this map. I'm going to throw it to the fact that Spreadsheet are a lot more practice on Gibraltar. This is probably a map they're a lot more comfortable with. And Keks, they're just kind of really falling apart on these offenses. They took it almost to the overtime to get the offense.
Oh, Cinderella going in already with the sound barrier on. Raz has fallen over though at the top of this fight. Cinderella trying to make some room for his team. He's getting right onto the mercy zone. IQT miles away from this fight. IQT does get to go back in as Yuki on that Genji deals with Cinderella on the back line. And now it's just a straight up brawl. IQT, non-res quite available yet, nearly there, and is going to be able to get a huge one if he can get into position. Doesn't quite find it just yet. Has the res, but it's going to fall over. No, finally gets it with 8 health remaining. And now the high noon out from TJK. He finds IQT has already fallen over against Red, just barely, and Raz and GMB to fall. They've just pummeled through it, and the hangar defense was not there for Untitled Spreadsheet.
Wow, that was such a much better performance from the Keks. This is the kind of performance I want to be seeing out of their attack. They took that second point in a rather dominant fashion. I don't think they will even really stop there. They now have 3 minutes left. They had 2 minutes. They added another minute to their timer, and it looks like they now look like they can maybe make this third point push. They made the second point look fairly easy for them.
Oh, this is a great adaptation though. Ref swapping out to the Zenyatta. Not only are they going to be able to help pick off some priority targets like Haste when he's getting right into the back line, they're also going to be able to do a ton of work with that ultimate when they can get it available. Oh, here comes the whole hog out from Haste just to push people back. GNB caught in that. But just to finish my point really quick before the fight breaks out, they'll get a bit of staying power because this attacking side is all about picking 1 and then 2 and then 3. And oh, the OC going straight in with the Death Blossom. Finds so many! Is that a fight? Just about. It's just Refs and GNB back up miles away from their ultimates. They're just pummeling through. Elam throwing out the sound barrier, and this attacking squad is so healthy if they can keep the defending side. Give them the base, and they do it. It's contested. There's only a few meters remaining though, for sure. IQT with the res is down now. Miles away as Raz falls over. Refs nearly down as well. GNB forced back into the base. They're keeping them in. 2 meters. Less than 2 meters. I think they can do it. They're going to be able to get through. TJK falls over. Refs again down. Marsh again down, and they've done it. It didn't look like they could do it, but my God, they got there.
Oh, well, what an impressive offense from the second 2 points. Keks really struggled to get that first point, and it looked like they almost weren't going to make it, but then what a massive turnaround. They managed to get point 2 and point 3 in really convincing fashion. And look at TJK, he's been the player that's been managing to get these trade kills back onto the side of Untitled Spreadsheet. I was saying that Yuki and GMB were doing so much work to get the trade-offs for their team when they were getting killed, but then you look at TJK and he's the one doing the work for the Keks and getting the trade-offs for them when they finally need it. And I think they really kept the momentum going from the second point. As soon as they won the first point, from the second point onwards, the momentum kept on going and they didn't really slow down. And I don't think the Untitled Spreadsheet really had an opportunity to really mount the defense. They were just constantly having to fight and they didn't get a chance at all to try and set anything up. They were just caught out.
Yeah, I really liked the Zenyatta adaptation, but on that last point, they just didn't even have the time to get it up to a point where it could be super effective. They sorely needed the Transcendence. That would have been an absolute game changer, but they just didn't quite have enough time. They nearly got it, actually. They were charging it up so quickly, and then it just wasn't there for them. I think that could have just about saved the game from Untitled Spreadsheets. Maybe an adaptation a bit too late, but in any case, it's now going to be the Woodkeks on defense, and having now faced Untitled Spreadsheets defense on their second point, do you think they're going to play a bit of copycat here? Do you think they're going to try and make some adaptations?
Well, I was going to say that the good thing about Woodkeks attacking first is that you do get to see the defense from the side of Spreadsheet. You get to see what they're running, and although, you know, you might not have to copy, neither team really has to copy each other, but to actually feel the teams out and say, even for the Untitled Spreadsheet side, say, okay, look, this is what Woodkeks are running on offense. Are these good ideas? Do they have any things that we haven't noticed? Are they doing things that we haven't discovered yet? If so, they can take some inspiration from that. But I'm not too completely sure yet. I don't know if Mosh is going to play the D.Va, but we did see Queenshem early tonight run a D.Va on the offense, and Yuki, pretty dominant display that we saw on Numbani with the Genji. Are we going to see a repeat here? I'm looking to say he'll probably do pretty well on this map as well.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Mosh on this D.Va, and judging by the positioning, it actually looks like Mosh is ready to take that one out of the gate. Yuki, yeah, like you said, on Genji, is going to be able to wreak havoc on Fail and Elam. Also, TJK, actually, both seemed to struggle a bit to deal with him last time. In any case, defenders looking with a pretty stock-standard lineup. We got Haste on Roadhog, Fail on the Mercy, Cinderella taking Reinhardt, Osier on Reaper, Elam on Lucio, and TJK back on that McCree. Meanwhile, for the attackers, Raz, McCree, RQT, taking a Mercy. Mosh is going to take the D.Va out of the gate. Actually, no, just going back in, doesn't want to take it. They've scouted out the defense, and it's going to swap out. But Yuki on the Genji, Refs on the Lucio, GNB on Roadhog, and Mosh swapping out to Zarya for the attacking side.
Zarya is going to be an interesting choice. We actually, the thing that I'd like to see here, that I'm noticing here anyways, you're not actually going to see a Reinhardt, and here we go, Woodkeks doing a play of their own.
Totally behind the enemy team. They might be able to find a big one here if they can get in position. Just gonna drop down on top, start swinging the hammers around, going in for the charge. Oh, he's right on top of the Mercy, but no, what a great flashbang to keep her alive, as Refs has already fallen down, but IPT did fall over to someone else in that fight. Now, Cinderella is just keeping everyone busy while the rest of the DPS deals with the attackers, and barely any ground made by Untitled Spreadsheet.
It actually looked like the Woodkeks were a little bit too slow in their offense there. They're actually defending, but they're doing the same sort of play that Untitled Spreadsheet did to them on the last offense. They tried to wrap around, they tried to get behind Untitled Spreadsheet and get a jump on them. They were a little bit too slow, so they turned around, they went the other side, Untitled Spreadsheet went inside the server room immediately, but it was Woodkeks who drew first blood. They got the kills first, and that's what secured them that defense. They managed to convert those 2 kills into further kills, but now can they make the defense count? Because here come Untitled Spreadsheet again.
Yeah, they're looking for a much more regular kind of defense now after that first maneuver, and they are holding it just barely as they've picked Yuki, so there's going to be no harassment on the backline. Cinderella needs to get topped off badly though before the spike breaks out. Does finally have Fail on top of him now. Haste now with the whole hog. He's actually really low and completely separated from this team, trying to find Raz, but no, Mosh comes in to scoop up Haste before anything can happen. Raz goes down mid-high noon as well. Osier to fall over, and there's the res now for the defending side, just as Cinderella falls, and the what a Gravitron catches the entire team just about. That's nearly everyone down. It's only Elam trying to jump around it, and that is a team wipe, a convincing victory on this first point for Untitled Spreadsheet.
Yeah, Untitled Spreadsheet definitely taking a lot less time to cap that point. Look at that, 6 minutes 50 still remaining on the offense timer. That is, of course, in the in-map. Let's see how much time they actually have left. 6 minutes 40, so it's actually not too far off, but they have a lot of time to make this offense count. And a pretty dominant display on the first point. Can they make it count for the point number 2, though?
I certainly think they can, and actually the Zarya is doing
the hammer! What
a hammer down, catches so many, but no follow-up. No, I lied, there's a huge follow-up there as Mosh the Tank finally drops with the rest of his team. It's like, it didn't look like anyone was going to die, and then suddenly the whole team was gone. GNB the only one to get out of that, so one heck of a defense, and maybe this is going to be where Woodkeks are planning to defend in the middle of this, this hangar here. And yeah, Mosh transitioning to that D.Va, talk us through that.
Well, you know, I think the second point hanger is when you really want to get a bit more mobility out of your team, and D.Va is now the key pick to get that mobility. D.Va being able to fly on top of the shuttle is really important. The other thing I'd like to see them perhaps try to play with is maybe a Winston, but GMB is going to stay onto that Roadhog trying to get a couple pickup. And here comes the fight.
They're going on in. Cinderella flying on in. Sound barrier only catching a few as going deep, looking to find TJK and does find it, but Raz also falls over. No, sorry, TJK just barely got out alive. Finally falls over now, but Mush, he's out of the mech. The res is not going to be there for the defending side, RQT. No, he finally drops, and his res isn't going to be there. It's just Yuki and Refs now against OC and Elam. No, Elam the only one left, and not quite close enough to the fight. He's doing what he can, but of course he is going to fall over. The attackers do break through. I don't know if they'll get all the way to the end of this hangar, but that was really convincing, and it's going to be hard for Woodkeks to reposition now to defend. In fact, it looks like they're just going to cede this point.
Well, Woodkeks, you know, the one thing they do have is they have a res. I don't think they're going to concede just yet because Cinderella wants to come in.
They're going for it. Oh, GNB trying to throw down a whole hog, but he falls over before he can get any real work done. Cinderella wreaking havoc nearly with the hammer down available. No doubt is going to look for that one soon. Looking for Refs now on that Lucio. Refs back away. He falls over. And Yuki to fall over as well, RQT to follow, and that is going to be just barely a defense. That is crucial seconds bought.
So the key difference there was that RQT this time didn't have a resurrection around. He had that last time, and that's what really won Spreadsheet the fight. They didn't have it this time around. In fact, Untitled Spreadsheet don't have any ultimates. The thing about using all your ultimates at the start of that fight is you still need to push the cart, and pushing the cart buys key time for the defenders to get back on the point. If the defenders have ulti and you don't, they can still hold, and that's exactly what Woodkeks did to save that point.
Speaking of defenders having ulti, they've still got that res. Cinderella as well with the hammer down, and OC with nearly a death blossom available. There goes the hammer down right at the top of the fight. GNB over right at the top. Yuki trying to do what he can on the back line, but RQT has already fallen over as Yuki falls down as well. And the defense is just holding so solidly. OC going deep to find Mosh now. TJK the only one to fall from the defenders. And again, crucial seconds board, and barely any ultimates blown. They still have the res, they still have the sound barrier, and they'll nearly have an aimbot too. Meanwhile, the attack is not looking quite so hot on the cooldowns.
Well, one thing I'll note about the attackers lineup is that they've kept the Genji. While this is okay for the mobility on the map, they don't have a setup for the Genji. They lost the Black Hole, and they really needed the Black Hole to combo with the Dragon Blade. Here comes a Deadeye.
Oh, that is a really, really nice lineup. He doesn't quite find anyone with... No, actually, that's a lie. He found Cinderella somehow behind the shield. Now he's trying to do what he can. Oh, Osia gets his stuff cancelled right as he tries to go in. And this time the attack is looking a little bit more convincing. Cinderella not there for the defense. Hayes throwing down the aimbot, doing what he can. He hasn't found anyone. Now he's trying to put some damage down into Mosh. But the defense matrix is going to be there. And this time the defenders do crumble hard.
Well, Mosh, I don't know how he managed it, but he got a really good pick off onto Fail, and they needed that race to stay onto the defense. It was really critical. 3 minutes left now for Untitled Spreadsheet. It's still quite a decent amount of time to get on this push, and they have a couple. They actually just have one ult, but a couple more ults going to come up online. They have the whole hog now online, and Yuki's not too far off either. Hayes is going to get a trade off into Raz. This could be opportunity for Woodkeks now.
Yeah, this is really where Yuki shines as well. He loves just, on these last points, keeping the enemy team totally busy after a wipe. It does not let them get out of that base at all. 4 whole minutes that Woodkeks have to hold for here, and that's a tall asking about how you slice it. Adaptation, though, by them. Hayes going to swap over to that Zarya on defense, and Mosh on the offense, swapping off to the Reinhardt. I do like those changes around as they try and go deep already. OC, though, falling over in the middle of the death blossom as it gets deflected by Yuki. That is really nice by him, because that could have been nearly a team wipe. GNB was already low by the time OC went down, and the rest of the defense is alive. For the attacking squad. Oh, Yuki going in. He's looking for the healer. Doesn't quite find it, but that forces him into the base. TJK and Elam do fall over, though, as Hayes falls over as well. Going in for the res now. Fail. He doesn't find TJK, and he does fall over himself. Now the race for the attacking side. RQT, he doesn't even need to stay back in this fight anymore. Raz does fall over on the back side there, and it's a really sloppy fight, but this is the attacking team. Cinderella, he's doing what he can. He does finally fall over, but he's down GNB. He found Mosh as well. The crucial target's already down, and now OC, the one doing as much work as possible, just keeping the attacking side routed, and they do hold by the skin of their teeth, Woodkeks.
Oh lordy, they have a minute 34 to cap with this point. Here we go. Can Untitled Spreadsheet do it? They don't have as many ults as they did last time. The critical ults that they really need here is they need the Dragon Blade, and Yuki couldn't secure the kill and fail last time.
It's miles away. Actually, Ref's already throwing out the sound barrier. Maybe a little bit early, because there goes the Gravitron Surge. Actually, it only caught IQT, and he did get out. Refs is able to pick off OC. Cinderella down, Fail down, TJK down, and this is looking really convincing for the attacking side as Mosh is in the backline. Five doing work, swinging the hammer, finds this area as well. Haste to fall over, fail the other one up, and no res in sight. OCS watching out.
1 minute. Oh.
But it is all pithy. 1 meter, less than a meter, and that's going to be it. Untitled Spreadsheet. They nearly didn't make it through, but they just made it in time through each point and were able to take out the win. What a tight series of matches. Holy Jesus, this bout did not disappoint.
No, it definitely did not disappoint. I mean, these are the two teams we've been waiting to see finally play each other. Both teams 3-3. Unfortunately, Keks are going to have to cop the loss for this, but what a performance by Untitled Spreadsheet. You saw on the last couple of pushes there, the pushes they failed on the last point, they failed to kill Fail, funnily enough with his name, but finally GMB got the kill on Fail. He didn't have the res available to bring the team back, and when he finally respawned, he was the only one. He was really keeping their team still in on the defense, and to be honest, I think Keks had a couple of things going for them on that final defense. They didn't have the Dragon Blade left on Yuki, and GMB didn't have a whole hog either. They didn't have the crucial DPS ultis, but they didn't need it. They still managed to get through without them. I think Raz was the real winner on that last push, actually. Raz was the one that picked up the really crucial kills to finally push Spreadsheet through for the win.
Yeah, I think the key thing there as well is Keks, they went a bit further forward than they needed to on that last fight. They could have actually hung back, given themselves a little bit of space, and started going for the brawl when they needed, but they went a little bit too far forward, and they tried to go in and brawl, and that's somewhere that Untitled Spreadsheet kind of shine. We saw how much work Mosh as well. You pointed out Raz, but I feel Mosh did a ton of work in that fight as well. Just the amount of kills he got just by straight up clicking and swinging the hammer was just absurd. He did so much work, and there was no reason for Keks to be in that close. And they only had to win that one fight to hold time and bring this match out to a tie. But in any case, it is not going to be a tie. And Untitled Spreadsheets take the convincing 2-0 win. Well, I say convincing. Both teams actually had a fantastic showing. And last few times I've seen Untitled Spreadsheets play these other top teams, they have still looked dominant. Tonight, they won, but I will not call them dominant anymore.
Well, and to be honest, it was really a good performance from both teams. Both teams set really good times for the offenses, but especially Untitled Spreadsheet with, we thought Keks were fast, but oh boy, Untitled Spreadsheet showed us how fast they can really bring it. Speaking of Untitled Spreadsheet, we're going to kick off this interview. RQT, how you doing, Andrew? Welcome back to the interview chair. Must be pretty pleased with that performance tonight.
We haven't played that for a month.
So speaking of the performance on Numbani, I'm just going to quickly say, when the Keks capped against you guys and it was like a 4-minute time or something like that, it was really fast, you must say. Did you guys feel the pressure? Did you finally feel and you thought, okay, wow, they might actually have this. Can we do it faster than 4 minutes?
Well, we threw the second point, but the second point's like a charity point anyway, and we actually held them on the first point for longer than we've held anyone else on that map for a long time. So we're actually kind of happy with our point 1. And point 3, yeah, was pretty terrible on defense for us. It was definitely a stretch to to take that map in 3 minutes. And I think we just snowballed and went pretty aggressive. So I think it was a bit of smart play and then just getting a few pickoffs.
I want to ask you, you're obviously the core Mercy player for your team, but how has the Mercy changes affected your team's performance and also your performance? There's obviously been a couple of nerfs in there. So how have the Mercy nerfs really affected you guys?
I don't think it's that bad. I think, especially, like, you're way more survivable now. I think it's pretty good. I think the 30% sometimes is relevant, but other times it's just not, because you can just pad off tanks.
Because the point I made in the cast was that you guys killed Fail quite a few times on the Numbani offense, and he actually didn't get a res. When I say he didn't get a res, I mean he didn't charge a res right up until the 3rd point defense.
If you get the pick off early, it's going to be hard, especially. But on defense, I think that's just bad team play then, because you can just pad off tanks.
So in terms of, while we're on the topic of the new patch, how have you guys adapted to this new patch? I mean, it's kind of been thrown onto you. You organized the game for Wednesday, but you had no idea the patch was actually going to come out today. And it's sort of been like, well, Blizzard saying, here you go, here's a patch, you have to play it now. How prepared was your team to take on this patch? Had you done much PTR testing? Had you done much theory crafting with the guys? And what were you guys prepared for?
We've talked about it a lot. We have some idea of what we're doing. I think actually a pretty good idea. I think we really discussed like Anna and just the changes to some of the heroes, and I think it worked out well. Obviously, there's not even international tournaments to look at, especially before today and before Zoe. So yeah, I like the patch. It's a good patch.
Good. How did you guys have
pretty
obviously?
stupid though.
Yeah, I believe that you guys have what I thought was really interesting was I thought Yuki was the core McCree player for your team, but you actually had Raz on the Yuki tonight, and you chucked sorry, did I say Raz? Raz on the McCree
yes,
tonight.
Raz on Yuki.
Yeah, Raz
yes.
was on the Yuki tonight for sure. No, Raz on the McCree tonight, and you had Yuki playing something else. So, showing a bit of flexibility there, I guess. And...
Well, we have 3 people that can play McCree just disgustingly well.
Yeah.
So I think I was saying this to a few people on other teams before the patch, but I think we've always been really flexible with what we've been able to play since we got Yuki. I think, especially with Gumber as well, like he obviously plays tank sometimes, but he can still play DPS, and the fact that we can have any 3 of the DPS play McCree and have other heroes catered towards specific maps and attacks or defenses works out well for us.
Welcome, Elam from Keks.
Hey, buddy.
Keks,
how are you guys doing tonight? Unfortunate about the loss, but you still must be pretty pleased with the way the overall performance went, because it did feel like you brought a lot of what your knowledge and your experience and the skill of your team and showed a lot of that tonight, because your times on the maps were not too bad at all, especially Numbani. You guys must have been pretty stoked with your 4-minute offense time.
I mean, we were happy with Numbani just because we set a time. Usually that doesn't happen. It's not one of our...
That is the same with us, dude. Both of our teams just ban that map. Like, it's done. It's in the bin.
Numbani's not a strong one. So we were glad to set a time. We were glad to set a fast time. But I think like a lot of it can be just attributed to how ridiculous McCree is with this patch. We're just getting... Like, free kills are happening everywhere at the moment in this game with McCree, because... Yeah. Everybody's so used to being able to like just skirmish, be out and about, and then suddenly you can't do that anymore because you just get deleted. So,
well, I mean,
yeah, it's pretty
after that push though, I mean, were you guys pretty confident feeling after that? Did you feel like after that 4-minute push, like you might actually be able to take this as pretty much in the bag, or were you still a little bit cautious because you're not too sure what the Untitled Spreadsheet guys might bring out?
We were pretty cautious because we have a history on that map of if we lose the first point straight away, we just get snowballed into oblivion. So we definitely didn't think we'd won it yet, but we did have some confidence behind us because we're like, oh, I mean, our last point's usually pretty good, but I don't know, we proved ourselves wrong. So
both those maps have that snowballing aspect on attack.
Yeah.
Especially with the spawn points, they're both just terrible on defense. If you take that first point, they're in literally the start of the map.
Yep.
And you can just catch people out. And then, like, with what you guys did to Raz, oh man, I was triggered when he got that Gibraltar spawn downstairs.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, just die, please.
I remember one of my teammates goes, oh, I wonder if someone's down there. And I just hop off the card and speed boost instantly.
Hey, yeah, so to bring it back to a couple of questions, guys. I mean, hey, speaking of Gibraltar, I want to talk about that second map and how it went for you guys. First of all, RQT, you guys held a really convincing defense on that second point. I mean, technically it's the second point, but let's get real. It's really the first point. So what was you guys' thought process there? We were talking about how we reckon defense is a lot harder to adapt to, but you guys looked really proficient for a long time there.
I think we actually kind of threw at the end as well. When like we went up into the server room, yeah, with 4 people on the car, I'm literally just screaming at my team, get on the payload, get on the payload. Like 4 of you just pushing it. And yeah, we were just out of position. Like that happened last week as well. I don't think it was for this. So it might have been Zoe. But I think, yeah, our defense on that first point is really solid. We just have really good communication and we can pick when to go pretty well.
Well, hey, and you guys pulled out quite a solid strategy as well on that very first skirmish, which actually Keks opted to use as well. Was that an adaptation for you guys, Elam? Did you see that done to you on that first point and went, let's go for that same flank, get behind them kind of maneuver, or was that something you guys had already planned?
We basically pre-planned it, but only tonight. We had a warm-up scrim before we played this game, and we made the mistake of like hard rushing disco, which is like blue area, that you can run up and down. We all went into there, like all 6 of us, and we got smashed on. So we sat down and we just worked out a couple of decisions for where we should go, depending on what the other team's doing. So we did pre-plan that, but it was cool to see other teams doing it as well. We're like all learning together. It's really cute.
How did you guys manage your offense there? Like, as Pixie said, it was a really good hold for Untitled Spreadsheet. Did you get a bit concerned about the defense, and what kind of adjustments did you make to finally manage to get that point on Gibraltar?
Yeah, we were concerned. We get pretty frustrated when we play, like a lot of teams do. So we're all getting hard on ourselves. But honestly, like combined with our good push through disco, I also think it was, like RQT said, the bit of the throw where they all ran into cave. As soon as they ran into cave, we suddenly had one choke point that we had to fight them on, or fight them through. So that helped us out a lot. And then, we sort of knew exactly what to do from that point.
Well, hey, I want to talk about something more towards the end of that first bout on that second map. And that was the adaptation by the defending side, Untitled Spreadsheet, picking up that Zenyatta for that last point. What was that something you planned, or was that just like I think we need to switch it up? The Transcendence is going to be helpful on Gibraltar.
When did he play it?
It was right at the end, right on the last point.
On the first point or the third? I don't know, man. Obviously no impact. It was not planned. I don't know. We're still experimenting. So there's some decent range, and they had some heroes that Zenyatta's orbs can kind of punish, but I don't know. I didn't tell him to play that.
Alrighty. And also, speaking of adaptations, you guys also brought out the D.Va on offense, which we had not seen, at least in this match, up until that point. So what, again, was the thought process there, taking that into the hangar?
I think D.Va's just kind of disgusting at the moment. Pretty strong. It's
pretty
underrated
sick.
if people aren't playing it, especially against McCree. It's like one of the counters that's actually there now. So I think it's pretty strong. And it's just, the hangar is a really fun point for us because there's a lot of levels to it in terms of like the actual map layout. And D.Va can get anywhere. And we wanted to get control of the ship. And we could do that with D.Va. Can't do that with like Reinhardt.
So being the two of the definitely top teams in the region at the moment, I'm going to get a couple of thoughts from you guys about what you think the biggest winners are from this patch in terms of who are the biggest winners in terms of the heroes and we'll stick with that for now. So what do you guys reckon?
You mean teams or the actual heroes?
The actual heroes. What are the McCree?
It's
McCree?
disgusting.
It's absolutely McCree.
It is the new Pharah Mercy Pocket, and you will die to 2 shots. And it's stupid.
Gone back to just being a sniper.
It'll get changed soon. It will. It has to. And the losers would be Pharah, like just absolutely countered by McCree now. And even the Zenyatta being played. So I think Pharah is not going to get played much.
Well, the other obvious question, of course, about this patch, how do you guys feel about the new hero, Ana? Do you feel that there is a place for Ana in professional play? Do you think that maybe it's going to take some time for teams to pick it up? Because we noticed you guys didn't actually pull it out tonight. So how are you guys feeling about that hero?
We talked about it because we don't want to bring it out because there is a skill cap to that hero, and it just got released and no one spammed it on PTR. I think it has like niche opportunities on attack. I think it's going to be garbage on most defense with the exception of a point or two. But it could be useful on attack at some points. I think just playing like behind the payload because she has no mobility. She's very weak in terms of actually surviving, and that stun is not easy to land.
Elam, I'm gonna throw a question to you guys, and particularly your team. You've had a bit of a lineup change. How have you guys meshed with Cinderella in the past week or so? I actually don't know how fresh he is onto your team, but from tonight's showing, it would have looked like he's been doing pretty good. But how have you guys been going with your new lineup?
Yeah, we picked up Cinderella basically on the weekend, and it was sort of like an instant gel. He has a very similar personality to most of us on the team, so we got along really well. He doesn't like really rage, so that helps us out a lot because having a tank that stays calm is obviously pretty good, especially when like their entire job is just to be smart. So yeah, I think he was a good pickup. We're having fun with him, and yeah, I can only expect good things from this point, really.
Got a. I'm gonna ask this fan question from the Twitch stream. RQT, is raiding and Legion gonna impact?
Oh
your
my
team?
god! Don't acknowledge him. Don't acknowledge that idiot.
You don't have to answer it if you don't
Oh.
want to, but I just throw it out there anyway.
No, I raid with him, so probably not raiding in Legion at this point. So probably won't impact me.
Oof.
We'll see. We'll see.
Letting down all your WoW fans, dude.
I know, 19 people. Feels bad.
Okay.
All right, I've actually got one last one
Okay.
to close it out. RQT, you guys took out the win tonight. Previously, both your teams were three wins apiece. That balance has now changed, but this certainly felt like a really close match between you guys. So, how do you guys feel about where you stand right now and where you stand maybe relative to the other top teams in this tournament?
Top 10 at best, hey.
Oh, top 10's generous. Nah, I think we're still in a good spot. I think this patch is good for us. As I said before, I think we have a lot of flexibility with our picks. Just need to solidify some of the maps and picks, and I think we'll be in the spot we were last patch, which is winning.
Alrighty. Woodkicks, how do you guys feel about it?
We don't really like the patch because we hate the way that having a primary McCree like forces playstyles. So, but you know, TJK is pretty good on McCree, and we'll eventually work around it. We've just got to slow down a little bit because a lot of our strategies, as you guys probably see, revolve around just like speed boost, like hardcore aggression, trying to turn it into a chaotic frenzy, and then
No
use
brain, all aim.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the strat. But with how McCree has turned out, that's not going to be exactly viable every time. So
Walk into a bit of a wall there.
yeah. So it'll take a bit of adjusting, but I don't know. I'm keen to play some Ana, and yeah, should be fun.
Alrighty, interesting to see two quite different opinions of the patch, and I'm interested to see how both of you guys, both of your teams develop over the rest of this tournament with this patch now being what the remainder is going to be played on, excusing, Act of God, and by God I mean Blizzard. I think that's all the questions we've got for you guys tonight, so thanks a whole heap for coming along and joining us here and answering some questions for us and our viewers, and fantastic matches as well. Avril, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, well, once again, congratulations, Untitled Spreadsheet. You keep your dominance in the scene. You win again with Keks. Unfortunate for the loss, but you guys are still looking really solid, and we're looking forward to some more matches coming from you guys. Speaking of more matches, let's run over very quickly what we're going to be seeing tomorrow night at 7 p.m, opening up with Oast Gaming versus Tachanka, followed by a 10 p.m. match, No Reason Gaming versus Trident Esports. The week is not out just yet for Heroes League TV. We will be joining you guys again for Thursday night action. Don't forget, if you want to follow up on what's happening with Heroes League, make sure you check out the Twitter at ozfortress. We also have a website that you want to check out, which is heroesleague.org. So make sure if you want to check out who the teams are, what the brackets are, even the schedules for when, what maps are going to be played, but, who plays on what team and where these guys stand, go to the website, read our articles, check out everything, all the details on there. Other than that, Pixie, I think this has been a really, really good night. I've really been impressed with A, how the teams have played, and B, how the teams have adapted to the patch. So, going on from here, I'm just really excited to see how we go with the rest of the league.
Yeah, me too. I mean, already this patch has brought up some crazy stuff. Untitled Spreadsheet coming closer to total defeat than they ever have before, and don't let the 2-0 scoreline for this match tonight fool you. This was a really, really close one, so I'm so pumped for the rest of this tournament as we come in towards playoffs.
Yep, and definitely look out for Keks and Untitled Spreadsheet, who are still definitely definite favourites for the playoffs. But I do believe that as us for the evening, we finished up our title bout for the night, for probably the week, but that doesn't mean we're done yet. So make sure you come back tomorrow evening for Oast Gaming versus Tachanka and No Reason versus Trident Esports. This has been Avril and Pixie. We will be signing out, and thank you for enjoying the show tonight. Cheers.